unless they want to try and counter pick Vitality. Removing Camille, which has been the go-to pick for Odoamne when it comes to getting him ahead early. Without Camille, it's either Vladimir or it's been just a lot of tanks up in Splyce's top lane.
Interestingly, the Zac has been left available for Xerxe, one of his most played during the regular season, something that he's had a lot of success on as well. But I'm also looking at this Caitlyn pick. I feel like it is a big power comfort pick for Minitroupax that Vitality could look to prioritize.
Looks like the Caitlyn will be locked in as predicted. So Minitroupax not only gets the power pick, but the comfort pick as well. And how do Splyce respond? Do they take that Zac? Do they look for some power picks of their own here?
Also got Sion available, which is for a lot of teams been the go-to choice when you can grab it. Braum is up here, which we know that Team Vitality loves to play together with things like Thresh as well as another support choice. So Splyce typically likes red side because they can counter pick for Kasing, who loves to play all the ranged champions. You want to make sure he doesn't get destroyed early on. But this team just locked in Braum.
We wanted to know if they were going to mix it up. What were we going to see from Kasing? Would it be ranged supports all day? This time it is going to be the Braum, one he's tried his hand at a few times. See how he does today.
Now, during the regular season, he has had 4 games on the Braum, and his win-loss record is 1-3. He has not had the best performances. We've had a lot of criticism towards his melee support, but clearly it is something that he has been working on coming into this third place decider as the jungler gets locked in for Splyce.
And the Skarner, yeah, something we expect Xerxe to be working on after we felt like maybe a weaker champion pool.
I think Olaf from Gilius would also make a lot of sense here. You don't really care too much then about the Skarner on the side of Splyce. Even Braum can't really peel properly against Olaf. So I think Vitality already coming out really strong in this pick and ban phase. Well done, Yamada-kan. You first picked Caitlyn. I think most people would have done the same.
Look, they took the Swain away. What else is he supposed to first pick, Deficio?
See, now I'm wondering if Team Vitality do what they've done in the regular season, which is, you know what? We're just going to pick a comfort bot lane in terms of the Caitlyn Thresh, or if they go for something like the Caitlyn Morgana, something that we haven't really seen a huge amount from Jacktroll, but could be something that they look to value later on.
So we mentioned Taliyah earlier for Jiizuke, been that big pick who's been winning so many games so far in this split. Currently not picked or banned in this one. Splyce could actually grab something like an Azir here, ban away things like Taliyah, and just have a really good matchup in mid for Nisqy, or try and set up a good matchup for him. Something we've seen teams do on red side when it comes to this second pick on their side here. But it's going to be Tristana locked in instead for Kobbe.
European special.
Yeah. Very much so.
And now I want to see exactly what Kobbe can do with this if they can get to the point in the game where he can just take over, because we've seen exactly what this champion can do. Of course, it's notoriously a reckless champion, but any late game carry worth his salt can definitely bust it out, can definitely play it. Look to lock it down, and now Morgana taken away, Vedius, so Jacktroll's not even going to get the chance to try at this champion.
Looks like Splyce just showing their respect over towards the bottom lane of Vitality. Caitlyn already gives you a lot of power during the laning phase, and Splyce want to try and mitigate that as much as possible. Driving themselves to Tristana is going to be rough during the early laning stages.
Still, they're trying to keep a potential counter pick for Nisqy against Vitality. I really want to see the blind pick Taliyah from Jiizuke and just see what the answer will be on the side of Splyce. If they have something special prepared for it, if it's something that can then beat the Taliyah, so suddenly that doesn't become a valuable pick to blind pick.
The Zoe is something that we get to see banned. It saw a lot of respect against Caps last week in the semi-final, but we have yet to see it from Nisqy. It could be something that he's been practicing in his down.
Or the Kasing.
Or the Kasing.
And speaking of respect, now 3 support champions banned out against Jacktroll. Of course, the Comfort Tom catch taken first phase, but now Morgana and Thresh to follow. Kasing clearly not wanting to try his luck against Jacktroll's skill shot proficiency in this laning phase.
Looking at some of the top laners that are left available that Splyce could potentially go for, Nart and Ornn were the 2 that would come to mind, and Vitality going to be taking one of those engage options away from Odoamne.
I do like this strategy of trying to remove some key picks from Jacktroll. He's been very focused on like Tahm-Kench and Thresh specifically as like the best picks for him. They're not here now. Maybe he has to move on to things like Alistar, Taric if he wants to still play melee support on his side, or we get a range support pick from him. But once again, they're saving that last pick for Nisqy.
And it's going very much as we kind of expected, Deficio. Or this answers one of the questions of what is Splyce going for. The scaling option seems to be the choice of Splyce, but they're very much looking towards Baron. And Vitality, they very quickly locked in the last 2.
Dominance in the bottom lane. Karma, Caitlyn coming in. These guys are looking to push. They're looking to push hard. Now, how are Kobbe and Kasing going to survive against this? And more importantly, what is going to be the option for Nisqy into this Taliyah?
Yeah, we have to see a good answer from Splyce. Seeing as they leave this champion open, they know Vitality wants to push in mid and then roam to bot lane, try and punish Kobbe and Kasing down there. So I really want to see the answer from Splyce against it. And it is that Zoe. Betty, you talked about it just before. Can Nisqy carry on it?
Something that Nisqy has clearly been prepping in his downtime. Really excited to see what he can do against it. Jiizuke in his first game against Fnatic in the semi-final, he struggled. He had a poor performance. He got shut down so hard by the mid-jungle duo, and I feel like it's going to be extremely important coming into this game as well.
Got absolutely picked apart, Vedius. Will the same thing happen here in game one? Will there be the same jitters, the same struggles against this champion? We're going to have to find out, but 2 complete compositions now locked in. What are we looking to see from both these teams?
I mean, with Vitality, of course, it's a lot of early game pushing. Mid lane and bot lane especially, they take Karma for Jacktroll, pick it against the melee support. It's just perma-shoving to the turret, and as long as you don't gank the Karma and kill her, she will keep pushing. So I think on Vitality's side, it's that classic control mid into snowball bot.
And for Splyce, their scaling is good, but their Baron is terrifying. You have the Cho'Gath, you have the Tristana for the quick clear, and Zoe, when she's able to set up around that big objective, it is so difficult to approach that, the big purple worm, because of the amount of poking threat that she has.
But can they avoid falling too far behind? That is the big question, because Vitality, if they get far enough ahead, will just keep forcing team fights, and then suddenly on Splyce's side, you never get to set up that Baron. You never get to go full late game, which is what they want to do, both as a team and with their draft.
We are moments away from finding out game one, Vitality versus Splyce. Spotted Rift Rivals on the line, championship points, paving that path to Worlds for both of these lineups. See a lot of fans ready in the crowd. See how Kobbe does. What can he do? Can he show up proud as a Dane? Today on that stage with that Tristana, we are going to find out as we get into game one here. A brief scenic pause, Vedius, before the killing begins on both sides.
And we can Danish nature.
Denmark is so beautiful.
So flat as well. See, no mountains.
It looks so much like every other League of Legends map, but it's just a little extra special.
Cleaner, cooler, crisper. Now, we also have a nice new overlay to appreciate as well, given that it is the finals weekend. And it's going to be very exciting to see how the early game does go, because Vitality, in classic Vitality style, we've already discussed it a lot in the draft. They want to try and make stuff happen in the early game. Jiizuke and Gilius, that combo together did so much work in the semi-final.
And of course, in tonight's third place decider, we're going to be bringing you the match through the eyes of Jiizuke. You can hit up twitch.tv/RiotGames2 to check out the new, still in beta, POV stream. If you see any issues, let our team know. But for now, you're going to see why Amazing thinks Jiizuke is the best Taliyah in EU. Find out if it's true. For now, we're going to keep an eye on level 1. Looks like it's going to go in. That's going to be 4 stacks. Not quite going to connect. Yes, it is. That is the stun. The follow-up immediately. Gilius goes down. Good start for Splyce.
Thank you, Gilius, for teaching everyone at home a lesson here. Do not face check on your own, especially 1 minute and 30 seconds into a game where you have no clue if the enemy team is going to stand around. Splyce gets a free first blood. What a great start.
Oh, Gilius, it is so important for you to have an early game impact. And so far, your early game impact has gone in the favor of Splyce. This is not how you want to start off your game. Definitely not how you want to start off the best of 5. Let's see if Gilius can bounce back after that first blood.
Maybe a bit of a struggle, but luckily for him, he has the power in the bottom lane. The Caitlyn Karma going to keep the pressure up. As Gilius looks like he'll be okay on his own for now. Maybe this is a chance for Xerxe to get in there to punish, to show us a little bit more than he did in the semifinals.
Well, at least we'll get ahead in terms of the camps on his side. But another thing about Vitality and this draft, like, respect to Splyce for saying, you know what, Vitality, we will give you your comfort picks. Sion top lane has been the best tank for Cabochard because he can roam mid. There's, of course, early game jungler for Gilius where he can be impactful. And then this Taliyah that has won so many games already for Vitality. It is pretty ballsy, but it is a game 1 of a best of 5, and you can do this.
And I want to see exactly where the junglers are going to look to impact first, because they are so key to both of these teams, to both of these lineups. So much has been about snowballing Jiizuke. See where Xerxe wants to put his attention. Is it mid lane? Is it top lane? Where exactly does he want to go?
And last week when we saw Vitality going up against Fnatic, a lot of it was Jiizuke pushes, he groups up with Gilius, they then look to roam around the map, often going towards the top side, and Gilius was just so impactful in coordinating this, working with the jungler to make stuff happen. But for Xerxe, he kind of struggled to have that same impact, and it was so important for Splyce because he is the main catalyst of this team. He is the one that enables a lot of the early game action and a lot of the later game team fights.
Hey, you want to get him off on the right foot, give him a first blood, it's going to be a good look. You want to have her bot lane. Do you see a bit of aggression there? Rocket jump forward actually going to get started. Exhaust goes down, but not going to be able to connect the winner's bite. So no stun is going to come through quite yet, but in comes Oh, are they going to be able to find it? Not quite enough damage. They do manage to get one. Are going to try to find the follow-up. That is a sleepy Karma. It could just be the double coming in here. Nisqy's got enough time. The cooldowns are coming in. Aggression in the early game from Splyce, and it's looking good.
It is not often we see Splyce play around the bottom side early game and try and force kills, but Kobbe and Kasing, they jumped forward 2v2 with this Braum pick now that we normally do not see from Kasing. They went for the kills because they knew Nisqy was roaming down. Big change for Splyce down the bottom lane, and they got a bunch of kills.
And what a statement. The fact that Kobbe in his home crowd just jumps in without any fear in the 2 versus 2, wanting to assert his dominance, knowing that Nisqy was on the follow-up. They're able to find a double kill. Even though Kobbe loses his life, they get what they want in the bottom lane.
And it's so important. Nisqy also is picking up something for himself because he's, of course, leaving a lane. He's not going to get any CS or experience. If he went bot and got nothing, he would be behind against this Taliyah, but now 2 extra kills on his side. A bunch of goals. Xerxe's bot lane. We might get more ganks.
Jacktroll doesn't have a good way
He's
out.
dead.
Has the flash available. Going to try to make it out, but Kobbe just leaves it forward again. Stun going to go down. Not quite enough. They're now trying to back off. Gilius is here to look for the fight. Kobbe now the one in trouble. They want to turn it back. Minitroupax going to grab one. Might just look for 2 as Kasing is running for his life. The undertow connects. He's slowed down. The trap is there to stop the pathing. That's going to be fired back on both sides. Gilius where he needs to be to make this happen for the team.
Yeah, Gilius being the hero here. Jiizuke once more.
Fight just keeps on going. That's already one down. Nisqy going to try to poke back. Maybe he can find the solo kill. Wants to take down Jiizuke. Now on the hunt, but buys a bit more time. The sidestep. Gilius is here as well. Nisqy needs to run the undertows connect. That's all but a death sentence. There's the speed up, the flash out. Gilius, is he going to go for it? Decides to back off. But gentlemen, this is not quite the bloodbath we expected.
But this is what we wanted, Drakos. Non-stop action. First game in the best of 5. Vitality and Splyce. They are not afraid to force things. And then that situation, Splyce, they felt like, hey, we've got our jungler down bot. We can look to try and punish the fact that Jacktroll is warding by himself. Unfortunately, they were not expecting Gilius to be lying in wait in the bottom side of the map.
There's also a chance they expected this Karma to not have flash. But it was saved after the last one. Jacktroll didn't use it when he died. So suddenly when Splyce show up and they actually jump forward, he gets to flash away instantly. And now you overextended Gilius, though. Fantastic start on his side. After giving up a first blood, he then comes in now, gets 3 assists, bounces back everything that just happened on the bottom side. And now it's Vitality leading.
Look at the gold difference, almost 1,000 in favor of Vitality, and look at the way the gold has been distributed. You see 2 kills for Nisqy in the mid lane, that looks good, but I see 2 kills for Caitlyn on the bottom side. BF sword to just about nothing on the side of Kobbe.
That is so rough. Caitlyn versus Tristana, you want to have that early lane lead, but this is just ridiculous. Having that kind of advantage after Splyce were the main aggressors in this 2 versus 2. Vitality looking very promising in game.
Now it's interesting, we did talk a little bit about Kasing. Has been playing a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more forward. There was a big question as to was he going to be able to bust out these melee supports, and it looks all right, but feels like Splyce just getting overconfident on the bottom side has turned against them.
So already 6 minutes into the first game, we have to kind of look at Splyce and their mindset going into it, because they obviously said we can try and draft a different bot lane from what we normally do. We can punish the bot lane of Vitality. We're going to surprise them. Peter Dunn, the coach, is sitting backstage being happy with the draft, and then he sees this. And now you wonder, are they going to change it completely already for next game? Or can they bounce back in this one? It feels like if they don't try and help the bot lane again, they're just going to fall further behind.
And the moment Vitality get that early tower in the bottom lane, this is where Vitality shine. They know exactly what to do with early leads. We've heard from so many teams that in scrims, these guys are monsters in the early game, and they know how to snowball so effectively. So the fact that Vitality have found this advantage now, picking themselves up an Infernal Drake, everything looking positive for the boys in yellow.
Kasing, though, looking for a little bit of a contest here. Buying a bit of time. Out comes the Weaver's wall. He's going to be trapped in there. Does he have an option to get out? Kobbe trying to block, but I don't think they have enough time. He's running away. He's not going to get it. Yet another kill. A slow burn, but more fights in the Dragon Pit. Jacktroll gets taken out in the meantime. Kills left and right. Nobody with a clear edge there.
Once again, more action on the bottom side. The top laners, they're just kind of sitting and farming against each other, clicking tab a few times, and then seeing suddenly there's 9 kills in this game. We're not even 10 minutes in. A lot of it, of course, is on Minitroupax. He's been part of all the kills for Vitality. He is so far ahead. And I feel bad for Kobbe. First game at home, and this happens.
But while it is Minitroupax who's been picking up the kills for Vitality, on that side, Nisqy has been doing the same. 3-0-1. on his first time Zoe from the spring split, and he is off to a fantastic start. He comes in from the flank trying to help out his team. Fortunately, Karma does still not have flash, is trapped in the pit, and it allows Splyce to trade support for support.
And Jacktroll sadly realizing that his team, they think killing the enemy support is more important than saving their own support. So they just leave. Jiizuke jumps in, takes down Kasing with Minitroupax, and of course, as you highlighted, Jacktroll left on his own.
We want to know if there was an answer to Jiizuke's Taliyah. It's been such a pivotal pick, and Nisqy has been so active across the map. It's good to see that there is an answer to dealing with that Taliyah in the mid lane.
I mean, the answer so far for Splyce been kind of unsuccessful based on what's happened. Jiizuke's ulti is going to be ready soon, and he can look for another play. Nisqy tried with the early roams, got a few kills for himself, so good for him. Sadly, his bot lane fallen very far behind because of it.
Just looking at some of the vision that's been spread out, because we haven't even had an opportunity, given all the fights that have happened so much. You can see that Splyce have invested pretty heavily towards the bottom side of the map. They've been trying to prep for these bot lane roams, but due to all the skirmishes, due to the fact that Jiizuke was able to find that opportunity after the Drake fight, vision hasn't aided Splyce a huge amount.
Okay, I want to always follow Cabochard when he leaves his lane, because he loves to just ult to mid lane, force a play, force a flash, see if he can use that to further snowball Jiizuke. He's still around, he might just be doing the Rift Scuttle at the moment, taking that on the top side, but that control ward he just placed in the top side river could be used to hide his play if he comes towards bottom side. But for now, it's still around bottom lane, of course, in this game. We might get more kills.
I mean, I feel like Vitality right now, their main focus is taking that tower down. Explains why Gilius is hanging around the bot side. They have gained vision control throughout the river. You would expect Jiizuke to be looking for a roam in the near future to just solidify that tower and then start moving this Caitlyn around the map.
Jiizuke on the way. Ultimate not quite available yet, but Gilius hungry for a bit of action on the bottom side. Now the jungler's there. Xerxe is there to follow up if they go too deep, but Vitality's taking it slow and steady.
And we keep seeing this push. We know also mid lane, Jiizuke will just instantly kill the wave, so he can move first with that ulti, and Nisqy can't follow as fast. It's gonna be a problem for Splyce if they try and contest bot lane, knowing that 5 members of Vitality will be there instantly.
For now, though, just pushing back and forth, slowly chunking down, but Gilius, maybe a bit of blood in his eyes, is gonna push forward, does get stunned up, immediately going to use the Ragnarok, though, wants to find the follow-up. Chilling Smite to get a bit extra movement speed, but not a whole lot else. Just a trade of blows there in the end.
Yeah, so Gilius initially started to win the trade, then he realized Xerxe, oh, he's on his Spire and he's in his own half of the jungle. Don't want to really continue on this push.
Close.
Gilius is just able to get out with his life. Now Xerxe looking for an opportunity mid, does have
Trying
flash.
to zone out. Ooh, flash is traded, no ulti going to connect there from Xerxe.
Hey, also we got to recognize Jiizuke running cleanse. He's learned from last week, gentlemen. He did run the heal in his series versus Fnatic, and that was a large part as to why he ended up falling behind during the laning phase.
Won't help too much, unfortunately, against the Skarner ulti, but will definitely stop Nisqy from getting the clean
Depends
setup
on who you
there.
ask. If you ask,
If you ask Riot
Game support, then it'll definitely help. But Gilius is still around bottom side. There's full vision for Vitality. Oh, they're jumping in.
Looking for the clap on the Gilius. Walking forward, they know that he just does not have ultimate. Kasing with the ulti is available, is going to try to connect onto two, but Kobbe is there as well. Nisqy on the backside, that's going to be one taken down. Minitroupax, but fired back as Gilius drops as well. Odoamne gets the TP in. The Cho'Gath looking for a little bit more action. They take down the Karma. Double comes in for Splyce.
So the big thing here was the fact that we had Jiizuke back in base. He couldn't move fast enough, and then Splyce set up a play. Gilius walks into the enemy jungle, wants to see what's happening. No flash, no ulti, and instantly Splyce react. Despite falling behind in this bottom lane, they continue playing aggressive, and we got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I love the proactivity that we're seeing from Splyce. So Gilius walking straight over a ward. Very easy for Splyce to go the immediate punish. Kasing, slight misplay. Fortunately, he does have the blast gun to help facilitate his team, and then the teleports come in.
Yeah, of course, top laners instantly trying to be here and fight as well. Odoamne knows there's no flash in Jacktroll, and once again, it is the poor support for Vitality being left behind, and he goes down. But Vedius was a very important thing that Gilius didn't really understand here.
Tell me.
And that is, if you do not have a mid laner in the mid lane pushing, you shouldn't invade the enemy jungle.
It's true, Deficio. I feel like that we've seen that multiple times throughout the regular season, but Gilius clearly not learning his lesson and not showing enough respect. Now, Nisqy continuing to pick up kills though, 5-0-1
Oh yeah,
now.
he's fed.
The last time he was 5-0-1 was on Kasing in the quarterfinals versus Roccat, and he moved off to the side lane. He had limited impact on the Kasing in the past. We'll see if he can have a little bit more of an impact now on the Zoe.
It's just good to see that Splyce are coming and trying to play aggressive early. of course, a lot of focus was around bot lane, but also with mid, because Nisqy just kept roaming in to join the fights and pick up all the kills for himself. So it's been a very fun first game, and when we see Splyce play more aggressive, it kind of sets up the rest of the series to be early game aggression for both teams.
But we've got to remember how important that Baron will be as well for Splyce. The Cho'Gath, the Zoe potential around the objective, Tristana, given how quickly he'll take it, and the Skarner as well. When he sets up that Spire, Splyce have such good Baron taking speed that Vitality have to make sure they maintain control.
And I just want to see if they can find a clean opportunity to take it. Such a risky moment for, I think, a lot of teams in Europe. We haven't really seen anyone be very clean on their Baron takes, but now we may have another fight. Gilius on the retreat here, Predator on the way, unstoppable, not going to get sleepy. Is going to find the knockback on a Nisqy though, a lot of damage. Not quite finding the kill yet, but here comes the TP. Gilius
he flashed for that.
axe. There's the wall, Jiizuke in the middle of everybody, Kasing's in trouble. Minitroupax now unstoppable, and Xerxe on the run, he's not going to get it! The knockup from Kobbe, Vitality getting in.
Cabochard's TP was not used in the fight before, so he could join this one while Odoamne stuck bot lane. Splyce realized too late, had to try and run away, but Vitality, of course, they punished him. We always see these aggressive plays, they never back down.
You think Gilius is out of position? No. It is simply a bait, gentlemen. See here, he's running through the river. He's like, hey, my team is around me. You guys can chase me. I have the ultimate. And then Jiizuke with the Taliyah plays the TP flank from the side, as you identified. It's made all the more worse the moment Jiizuke comes in with the ultimate, and they come in for the clean.
Oh, and see the big play. Oh, it's about the blast gun. Nope. Interrupts him, doesn't get over in time, and now, oh, he's gonna die.
Goodbye. Nice of you to join us in the top lane very briefly there, sir.
Very interesting kind of buff for Caitlyn was when TP was changed so that you always appear behind the turret. Makes it very easy for Caitlyn to say, oh, I know exactly where you're going to show up. It is, of course, behind, so I put the trap there. And then you TP straight into a trap, and you die.
Huh. Yes, that is in fact what happened. Big oopsie there.
Now Nisqy knows that too, so we have to imagine a bit of a fumble there, but it does mean that Vitality get sole control over Rift Herald on top of what is already a 4K gold lead.
Yeah, so to get the first turret, they got the shutdown as well for Minitroupax right there. He's currently over 2,000 gold ahead of Kobbe, and we're 15 minutes into the game.
Splyce trying to go toe-to-toe with Vitality, trying to match a lot of this aggression, but really Vitality able to consistently match back. We thought maybe this would be a really good sign after they found so much success in that first bot lane play, but Vitality did not let them sit on that lead for even a minute.
I think Vitality is so happy with how Splyce are trying to play this game, because Splyce are playing right into the strength of Vitality, which is early game aggression, being able to constantly move around lanes, quick TPs, and always looking for the fight itself.
And we talked a lot about how Xerxe was often the catalyst for Splyce's early game success and late game teamfight initiations. So far, Xerxe hasn't had that much of an impact, or when you kind of relied on the individual prowess of Kobbe and Kasing, you've gone up against Minitroupax and Jacktroll, who are kind of known from the regular season for just being, to a degree, mindlessly aggressive, always looking for plays, always looking for skirmishes in the 2 versus 2, and it was often them that was coming out on top.
So is it a bad thing when your AD carry has a BF sword and a pickaxe, and the enemy AD carry has a fully complete Infinity Edge and a fully complete...
You technically have
ship?
6 items in your inventory if you're
I've got to be honest.
So if we look at the numbers, it's 6 versus 4.
That's a valid point.
There's a lot of yellow on the side of Vitality. Maybe that could be enough to contribute, but they do have a lot of crit with the Infinity Edge, with the static shift. They now have their eyes set on the mid-tier 1, and that's going to be a 3-0 tower advantage to Vitality.
And Minitroupax right now has the highest kills plus assists out of any player so far this split in the early game. He is so insanely fed that as long as they just group around him, he will win you the game.
100% kill participation. This man making it look like a solo queue performance the way he is dominating right now.
Now, gentlemen, we do have to remember that Baron spawns in about 2.5 minutes. And Vitality's kryptonite is the big purple worm. In their last semi-final, they didn't really set up for Baron. Often they were just reacting to a lot of what Fnatic did themselves. They were constantly on the response, and they were the ones to try and stop Fnatic, trying to make the counteractions rather than setting up for themselves. You have to hope that coming into this third place decider, Vitality have cleaned up some of the Baron issues that have plagued them for so long.
And we heard from Yamato at the start of the day, it wasn't about learning new things, it was about fixing some of the issues. One of those issues might be Baron. Getting a clean one here would be an excellent start to the series for the team. Might make Splyce a little less confident coming into the mid-game of Game 2.
Luckily still 2 minutes where you can look for a fight instead of your Vitality and get a little bit further ahead before you gotta play that slow Baron dance on your side. Bot lane, the tanks continue to try and kill the minion waves and not each other. So we don't really care about them so far in this game. We only care about the other side, where we get a ton of kills.
And of course, the team lead means that you do have the banner of command, ensuring that the tanks will just get to auto-attack minions for a while. But the mid lane a little bit more interesting. You can see already the Seraph's Embrace completed for Jiizuke, still lagging behind for Nisqy, and well on the way to the death cap here. That's going to be a huge spike in damage.
It's definitely a valuable pickup for Jiizuke, who has had a pretty great performance so far this game. Not as afraid of the Zoe as he was previously last week. He's clearly found ways to deal with it, given all the advantages that have been gained in the bottom lane. On Sensor even being picked up for Jacktroll to better enable Minitroupax.
Also, Righteous Glory for Gilius. Nothing looks funnier than an Olaf with Predator and Righteous Glory being popped and buff up, you know, from a Karma as well. He's going to be so quick to actually rush into the enemy team. And I think if you're Vitality, it's not about the slow and perfect Baron setup. It's about forcing the enemy team to show up and you just turn. Click Righteous Glory, run at them, destroy them in just a matter of seconds, or run at the enemy Cho'Gath. Works as well.
Click Righteous Glory, got a little bit of true damage there. Is going to use the Ragnarok now, starting to run forward. Find a bit more. True damage burns down there from the challenging smite, but not enough to kill Odoamne. Enough to push him out of the lane, however. Give a pressure point over to Vitality, but with Gilius on the bottom side, chance for Splyce to respond.
You can see Jiizuke hanging around the bottom side of Splyce's jungle, looking for a potential ulti towards the bottom lane. They do have decent vision control in that area of the map in Vitality. Just keeping all three lanes pushed so they can continue to extend the vision. The Baron that we talk so much about, spawning in about 5 seconds. Vitality have their eyes on it. Can Splyce find a way to stop it, or will Vitality close out what has been a pretty solid early game?
You see Vitality eager to get a bit of vision control down. They know Baron's right around the corner for them. In a good position. Maybe hoping to get the fight from Splyce, but want the vision set up necessary to do so.
Doing all the steps correct so far. Pushing top and mid, getting deep vision. Splyce, of course, trying to defend it. Kind of just a matter of time before we see someone getting caught out with the amount of engage on Vitality's side with this Olaf.
No, and it's something about Splyce's comp that I've been thinking a little bit about Deficio. I think even in a full 5v5, it can be rather difficult to get onto that Caitlyn when you've got a Taliyah and a Karma, and the only real threat is either an Odoamne flank or Xerxe getting a flash ulted, but the QSS has already been completed. So the biggest threat that Splyce have to deal with, I feel like they don't have a comp that's really designed to shutting it down.
And this is the struggle when you fall behind on the Skarner, when people get those QSSs ahead of even the 2-item spike for your AD carry, lose a lot of that impact. And for Minitroupax, he doesn't even mind. He has the Ardent Sensor. He just gets to push this tower down for free.
I mean, he's so far ahead, and his support is buffing him up as well. Jiizuke did use his ulti just to block the rest of Splyce from walking top lane. So once again, Vitality making sure they just get more and more for themselves, not giving any chances of a Splyce comeback so far. And poor Kobbe down that bottom lane, still trying to get 2 items on his side, and the enemy AD carry, he's far ahead of you.
Working towards the rapid fire cannon already. You know, one of the great combos that we saw...
Don't even want to see the items anymore.
Yeah, one of the great combos we did see from Splyce during the regular season was the Zilean Caitlyn combo, where it's very easy to gain mid-priority because you just speed up your AD carry, you run up with the rapid fire cannon on a Caitlyn, you hit him in the face with a big crit, and then you run away.
This is
the
a slightly different strategy. It's
slightly
called,
different.
my Caitlyn is so fed that it doesn't matter what happens, as long as I speed her up, she'll kill someone.
Exactly that. You have the Karma to speed them up, and it becomes very easy for Vitality to just pretty much gain control wherever the Caitlyn is.
For now, they're going to be looking to shift a little bit of that control over to the Mountain Drake, picking up their second of the game. Will join the Infernal they got earlier, alongside the 7K gold lead. Massive lead at 20 minutes for Vitality. I mean, dominating the early game, but I don't think anyone expected this much in the first game.
No, and also just surprised again by Splyce being so aggressive. Clearly, we're not really used to that style and made some mistakes which got punished super hard by Vitality themselves. Mountain Drake's going to help with the Baron. It feels like at this point, if Splyce cannot steal a Baron, it's hard for them to get back in this game.
Definitely a difficult place to be, and you can see, luckily for them, Nisqy can still be a little bit of a threat here, at least onto the Caitlyn if she's left alone, but Vitality starting to posture around the Baron area. Have to see what their next objective is. Splyce feels like they're on the back foot. Feels like they just have to let Vitality dictate the pace of this game.
Again, 5-1-1 Zoe. Nisqy has been able to pick up a lot of the kills, and he controls a lot of the gold right now for Splyce. His damage is significant and has to be respected. So when Vitality are sieging, they have to be very aware in the event that a Sleeping Trouble bubble might land, and then the flash ulti from Xerxe. That pick threat still exists from the side of Splyce.
We do see Vitality take another outer turret, mid lane going down. They're constantly looking towards the Baron, kind of getting ready to do it, and it's going to be a big test for them. If they secure the first one cleanly, suddenly Splyce will just lose this first game, and Vitality will have a ton of confidence after a good game plan, a lot of comfort picks on their side, Taliyah, Caitlyn, Sion, everything they normally would like to get in a draft. Splyce gave to them in the first one, and losing those early fights means that now you are so far down that you rely on enemy mistakes to get back.
And we talked about the importance of red side in this best of 5. This was Splyce's red side game, the one where they got to choose the side, where they got to dictate the pace. They gave up the Caitlyn. They traded it for the Braum, also for the, I wanted to call him Kha'Zix, I don't know why, for the jungle pick.
Skarner.
Thank you, I blanked.
Basically, Kasing. What's the difference?
Basically, and it hasn't really done much, I think is the takeaway here. It has not been the biggest impact. It did get the ball started, ball rolling, but wasn't really enough.
I mean, let's not forget that Gilius gave up first blood. And everyone thought, okay, well, Gilius, is it going to be one of those Gilius games, or is it going to be a Gilius finding a bounce back? And so far this game, he has been able to bounce back very effectively. A scoreline of 1-2-5 right now. His confidence has not waned after what was a mistake. And now he is at the forefront as Vitality continue to maintain control over the top side of Splyce's jungle.
Oh, we got a replay.
We got a replay. Let's look back.
Yeah, this is what you don't do level 1.
Dun 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 dun. No. That's a big oopsie.
The awkward flash into Kobbe.
Like, what are you
that's
doing
the ultimate
here?
feels bad. You're supposed to be with the rest of them. Stun does go out. Seems like a grim start, but I mean, crazily enough, that Vitality just have been turning it around since that moment. After the bot lane play, you thought maybe this was Splyce's game to dominate early on, but not really getting the chance.
But I do think that's the great thing about Gilius. No matter what happens, he always thinks he's the greatest jungler on the planet. So even if he gives away first blood, he loses 4 Barons in a row, he doesn't care, he's going to go in.
He's going for the Tristana. That's a lot of damage coming in overall. Here comes the Caitlyn ultimate. Kasing is going to drop the TP coming in, but it's immediately going to get canceled. Is that pick enough to give Vitality control of the Baron?
They're still very healthy. They got the Kami here. They should just go for it. Xerxe's flash is ready, so that potential Baron steal will always be there. Vitality is the team that allows the most potential 50-50s to happen because they often do not deny entrance to Baron. Jiizuke, great wall on his side, and now Xerxe can't really get close enough.
Flash is going to cover all that distance. Maybe he wants to go in, but it will be the Baron dropping down for Vitality. Exactly the start that they wanted in Game 1. A clean Baron take for this lineup.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are bearing witness to one of the cleanest Baron takes that Vitality have had this split. Excellent coordination, no steps were skipped. Yamato was true to his word as Vitality seemed to have fixed some of the issues that were plaguing them for so long.
And now a 10k gold deficit for the side of Splyce. I know you guys were talking about going to Game 2 already, but are we at that point? Are we at the point where Splyce are out of options to come back? What do we look for on this side?
Vitality have been a great team with Baron itself, where they typically are able to get multiple objectives whenever they grab the buff. So at this point, yeah, it should be just Vitality going straight into that base, getting one last fight, and then closing out the first game, being, once again, happy with how it turned out. They're looking at Splyce trying to play more aggressive early game. That backfired completely. And then again, this pick and ban phase on blue side, Vitality still managed to get basically all the comfort picks they wanted.
Everything that they needed. They get the Taliyah. Splyce have an answer, but they also get the Caitlyn and the Karma as well, showing itself to be a solid pick in the hands of Jacktroll, supporting Minitroupax. Odoamne take a lot of damage just trying to attend here. Ooh, beautiful seismic shove comes in. Not going to be enough to kill him in the end, but kind of just slowly running this one down. And while these guys are trading blows back and forth, Minitroupax has his eyes set on the prize here, cutting through this inhibitor.
Vitality looking so clean. So much respect has been given to them from so many other teams about how scary this team looks when they get that early lead. Vitality, they have found it. They punished the early aggression, but now we see a fight.
Now trying to try to back this one out. Still untouched on the backside is Minitroupax. Him and Jiizuke alive and well. Nisqy trying to get something back, but cannot connect on the Sleepy Trouble bubble. Will not find anything. Just the one kill going down. Odoamne giving his life for nothing in exchange.
And now for Splyce, with their backs against the wall, their focus must be on the rest of this series. Yes, it was a bad performance, but something that we discussed in the draft was very much that giving away these comfort picks is not the most dangerous thing in a Game 1. It allows you to identify, can we deal with it properly? Was it just a simple execution error, or are these individuals just too good on these champions.
It's just so rough that your first game on red side decide where both teams pick up basically all the wins. We've had one blue side win for Vitality all split long. We've had 2 blue side wins for Splyce. Now, of course, Vitality barely played blue side because they always pick red when they have side selection. But it's been tough for them to win the draft on that side. And again, they look at this and they think they had everything they needed. Winning bot lane, pushing mid, jungler that can 1v1. So they are basically just happy with everything that happened. And now with them being this far ahead, I think it's super, super tough for Splyce suddenly to bounce back because everything you prepared just backfired.
Now backing off as they look to siege up on this tower. Kobbe, it's just too easy for them at this point in the game. Minitroupax takes a step forward. You can see Xerxe hungry for an entrance onto the side here, but not going to find it immediately. Cho'Gath's going to get cut down. Jiizuke now just moving forward with the rest of the lineup, trying to bring it home for this team overall. It's a slow, steady finish, gentlemen. Vitality just having their way with Splyce. You can see big old crits coming in. He's going to block what damage he can. Vitality trying to bring it home onto the base. A wall off just to make sure they can't get anywhere near this fight. It's PvE for the side of Vitality. They do not need to look for a skirmish here. They're just looking for the game 1 win.
Vitality come in with their style. They come in confident. They make it look clean. And they shut down Splyce in game.
Good look over the pull 1 in the fountain. Not even going to get the kill. Beautiful win comes in for Vitality.
And they made it look easy in this game here. The moment they started winning some of those fights, the moment they got killed some Minitroupax, felt like Splyce didn't know what they could actually do to get back in the game. Of course, one of the big ones that also ended up hurting them was Nisqy TPing to a turret, stands on a trap, he dies instantly, and Vitality gets the AD carry even further ahead. Minitroupax had 2 full items before Kobbe even completed an Infinity Edge.
You know, and I can see in theory how the Tristana Braum has that all-in potential in the bottom lane, but in my head, it has it around the level 6 mark. You know, you have the Skarner ulti, you have the potential roam with Nisqy, and while in theory the idea was good, unfortunately the execution in the early game did not pan out, and Vitality was so quick to react. Every time Splyce tried to force something in the bottom side, they were the ones that were constantly coming out ahead.
And it was interesting to see Splyce match the bot priority that Vitality have been showing so consistently across the last few series. Try to go toe-to-toe with them, say, hey, you want to fight the bot lane? We'll meet you head on. It was an ambitious move, and it backfired.
So if you're Splyce, do you say it was all execution? The draft was fine, we can do the exact same thing for the next game and try and play aggressive bot lane? Or do you suddenly get scared and think, okay, we can't actually play this style. We have to go back to something else. We got to be more passive down there because this looked okay if we go the first few minutes into it.
Yeah.
And then very quickly backfired when they started taking some fights they couldn't actually win.
If you look at the Gilius first blood,
that was
first
great.
all-in on the bottom side, everything's fine. If you watch any more, this is a Vitality-favored game.
So basically, if the game ended after 4 minutes, Splyce technically won.
Yes, but it did.
But it definitely
ended at 29 minutes with Vitality sitting on top of what I believe was a 16,000 gold lead.
And I like we got to see the Taliyah used with the wall to block off for Baron. Don't even risk Baron steal.
The Baron was so good, Deficio.
It was easy for them because they already got a kill and they had the entire setup.
It's been easy for them many times before.
It was good to see from Vitality, and with being this far ahead, they got it and they just instantly take away the enemy base.
Yep. Absolutely did. A solid performance. Well, as the teams gear up for game 2, let's get some thoughts from our analysts on Vitality's win.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, a very strong win from Vitality. Yamato, true to his word in the pre-game interview, there's no 2 ways about it. Vitality has to win today, and they have 1 game on the books. And I actually want to jump on what Deficio and Vedius talked about just now before getting over to us. If it was just executional mistakes by Splyce, and if the game plan was correct, yes or no. So we're going to start by taking a look at the early game replay to illustrate what we're talking about. This is where Splyce actually take the action to Vitality bottom lane.
So basically, the early game plan was pretty good for Splyce in terms of like shutting down the bot lane because Caitlyn Kama has to shove all the time. So Zoe actually missing mid-wave in order to roam bottom, and making this play is perfectly fine and makes a lot of sense. But then obviously they set up for the same play again, but this time with the Skarner, and they don't acknowledge that the enemy does have a jungler too, and they basically get counter-picked. And this basically throws all the lead that they acquired early in the game, the first blood, the double kill, out of the window. And you're putting yourself in a spot where now the Taliyah has mid-wave upon its opponent and can roam at any point too.
So the question is, was it a good idea? Yes or no? And is only the execution failing? In other words, do you want to see them putting the same pressure on?
So the way I see it is that the initial gank was super well played by all of them. They find an opening, which is kind of like a miracle play, because ideally what should happen is that the mid lane from Vitality is getting pushed in, the bottom lane is getting pushed in, so you shouldn't actually be able to find these openings that Nisqy found in the roam. So they should have just been very, very satisfied with getting that initial play and not greed for the second play, because after the first play I thought they were completely fine and could actually just stall the game, which is what they want with Tristana and Braum.
Yeah, sadly for them, it turns around and Vitality takes the lead. Minitroupax gets a couple of kills, and we're just going to see that from that point on, with now also the pressure they have in mid lane, Vitality just pops off, because this is exactly what they want. Let's take a look at the next replay brought to you by Acer Predator. Jiizuke on his Taliyah. He does it again amazing.
Yeah, basically, this Taliyah pick, we've always talked about it. The ability to just ward people off and just making this play happen is so important, and it basically enables the whole of Vitality to snowball as much as possible and play to their own strengths, which is this hyper-aggressive play style.
And the reason why this play is just so good is that Vitality has TP advantage in this situation where Cabochard can come in and clean up the fight, and I felt like there was a little bit of a mistake from Splyce side, so look for fights in the side where you are in a TP disadvantage.
Yeah, it seems to be that the whole game, like Splyce tried to basically counter Vitality's aggression and play up to their standards, basically just match whatever is happening. And I think for Splyce in general, it seems to be that they have a lot of discomfort within that playstyle, and it's not really something that plays to them and plays to their strengths.
Well, it's also why possibly Vitality has the 2-0 head-to-head in the regular season. The styles just don't seem to match up very well. Is it better to just leave Vitality to it? Just make sure you're not bleeding too much in the early game to make sure you can come back later.
I do think that they have to still identify some win conditions within the early game, but they actually have to make a pick ban around, because I think the pick ban in itself didn't acquire anything for them. They had no counter pick on top lane. They had nothing going for them bottom lane. So all in all, they could only hope for miracle plays, and that in itself is bad for any kind of pick ban, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would have loved to see, as much as Cho'Gath into Sion is a fine matchup, we've seen this several times over many regions. So it's definitely fine. But what I would have loved to see is that they challenge the bot lane. First pick Caitlyn, you can play stuff like Ashe. We have seen Ashe being a solid pick into Caitlyn specifically. I'm sure Kobbe can play Jhin as well. Just stronger early game. You're kind of just playing Vitality's game if you're just picking Tristana and kind of allowing them to just push you in and get the tower early.
Well, just to play devil's advocate here, it seems like they picked it. They wanted to put action in the bottom lane, and that worked, and it only just backfired because they stayed too long. So as the coach, would you then say, all right, let's try this plan again? Or would you, as you guys say, try and put a bit more power in those picks in the lane?
So it's a little bit of both. I do think that the coach would obviously go over the execution, tell him, hey, at this point you didn't see the enemy jungler. At this point you should have made that play. But I do also think that forcing a pick ban, in which case you have to make miracle plays or plays where you outplay the opponents, are not the place, or like not the pick bans that you're looking for. And I think that they should acquire something within the pick ban that says, hey, this is the lane we're going to play around, and this is how we win.
Yeah, there is a world in which Peter Dunn says, well, it's only the first game, possibly of 5, so let's see how far we can go. However, against Vitality, that is a risky strat, because I just want to praise Vitality for the fact that they completely ran away from the game, as they love to play.
They just played the game that they kind of love to play, you know? So I would love to see either you take away the Caitlyn or you take away the Taliyah, because these picks are so crucial. We highlighted it in the pre-game. These are picks that can push lane and pressure towers and pressure the early game. So instead of maybe removing the Tahm Kench, I would love to see like maybe a Caitlyn ban, or show picks that you can play into it that can pressure it.
All right, we will see. You guys are on course for your predictions, at least. You guys both said that Vitality would be the stronger team today. So
I said 3-2.
Yeah, so you still need them to throw 2 games? Is that how it's going to go?
It has to happen. But yeah, like this Taliyah pick has to be out of the game. I think Jiizuke, even though he's not the best Taliyah in the world, he's incredibly good, at least for the EU standards, and I think you have to take it out.
He's definitely the best Taliyah in Copenhagen.
And a lot of praise to Vitality. We criticize them often for their mid-game, and I think the mid-game they showed just now was pretty much spot on. They got the Baron, they snowballed the game, they end the game in less than 30 minutes, so I think good game by Vitality.
Kudos to them. Crisp and clean game by Vitality. They are looking to close out a great split by securing 3rd place. We'll see if they can increase their lead when we return for Game 2.